What's really, really impressive, actually, is that although Hazel has stolen all of my best lines and the whole kind of narrative that I was going to deliver for you, we have powerful people advocating this across the British Parliament, across the European Commission. In fact, we've got business leaders, politicians, people championing communities and people desperately passionate about the plight of young unemployed people in this country and the environment, all finding a consensus, all finding a similar narrative about the need to reinvent the way that markets work so that we can capture and build much greater social and environmental value in everything that we do. And I was at a kind of a housing maintenance conference only last week in Stratford-upon-Avon, as one does in my kind of job. And there was a consensus there that actually in terms of tackling the big challenges that we face as a country, it's business that has to play that role. We know that government is not going to create the jobs, the kind of economic regeneration, particularly in our regions and in our northern cities and towns. We know that we have to look to the business community to do more. And I think many of us know instinctively that this is actually common sense. You know, the idea of getting businesses to invest back into their communities, to train young, skilled, unemployed people into jobs, supporting people with disabilities to find work that's meaningful, that's well paid, to lift living standards across our communities, to do the right thing by the environment. This is all common sense. The challenge for us, I think, is to demonstrate that this is also really good economic sense. And what's really encouraged me, and again, Hazel referred to it in the clip that she filmed for us, was that businesses are finding that this is a fantastic route to employee engagement, to recruiting the best staff, to retaining the best staff, to building trust and meaningful partnerships and relationships with the communities where they operate, but also throughout their supply chains and with their customers and commissioners and those that are procuring their goods and services. So we know that this is beginning to work. The challenge is, I think, that we need to demonstrate the evidence of how this works and how this operates and how this actually creates a much more level playing field for businesses that are already doing the right thing by offering those apprenticeships, by offering those jobs, by treating people well who work for them. And I think that that evidence is beginning to emerge. I was yesterday in Parliament, which is why I couldn't join you in the bar last night, for a 6-hour session with members of the opposition, the Shadow Cabinet, and then latterly with members of the current government, including Greg Clark, Minister for Cities. And there is this recognition, there is this determination that actually if we are going to tackle these problems, we actually have to kind of think through system redesign. We can't go back to business as usual. We need businesses to create sustainable solutions to meet the challenges that are going to affect this country, not just in the next 2 or 3 years, but certainly probably for the next decade at the very least. And we know that, you know, kind of, I think, fortune favours the bold and the brave. And what we've seen, I think, is that, you know, progressive organisations that have that commitment to doing right by our society and by our economy and also by their shareholders and investors are beginning to find ways that they can achieve these kind of mutually supporting objectives. And so I would like to recognise the work that Landmark have done. Every kind of evolution requires pioneers. And Landmark and other companies that we've been working with, people like Waits, but particularly Landmark in recent months, have been really demonstrating leadership in this space. And we need to, I think, convince still people that might be cynical or sceptical about this agenda that this is fundamentally good for business. This isn't a burden, this is an opportunity for our communities, for our businesses, for people right across all of our stakeholder groups. So thank you to Landmark for making this summit happen and for the work that they've been doing in terms of being open, transparent and honest about the challenges and about the opportunities that this agenda creates. I've also got to thank Dartington Hall. It's a fabulous place, isn't it? It's just remarkable. And I think it also reinforces the idea that social enterprises can deliver the highest quality facilities and service and do so in a really, really imaginative and impactful way. So thank you for Dartington for hosting us. And also thank you, I have to mention my team, because you know, I didn't even know this summit was taking place until a few weeks ago. They've been busying away, sending out filming crews to interview Chris White, a fantastic champion of this sector, and Hazel, talking to our stakeholders, talking to Landmark, bringing it all together, ensuring that the content is dynamic, useful, and certainly will leave some sort of legacy, and I've got no doubt that that will happen. So I'm going to allow you to take your trains back to wherever it is you came from. I know there are some people here from the local regions and surrounds. Nice to see you here too. And it's great to see some of our other partner organisations also buying into this agenda, unlimited business in the community. But what this really needs is the commitment of the private sector to demonstrate that this is doable, that this can be complementary to running their businesses in traditional ways. And so thank you most of all to the private sector representatives that we have in the room that are, again, really, really pioneering this work. And of course to our public sector representatives who I think have all now left, actually. Anyone left from the public sector here? Just one person. Well done for staying with the course. You're someone that clearly is willing to work beyond 5 o'clock, and I salute you, sir. So thank you all. Thanks for making the time out of your busy diaries to come down to this fabulous location in Devon. Thank you for making the summit happen. And I, like Hazel, look very much forward to seeing the reports and the outcomes emerge as this agenda builds and develops and grows. Thanks very much.